All right, boys and girls, it is time for story time. And look who I have joining me today. Does anybody know who this is? He was in a movie. He was in a couple of movies a few years ago, all right? Shrek. The ogre himself is joining us, okay? Now, I don't want to give the book away, but just remember, Shrek's going to show up somewhere in our story, okay? So I'm going to let Shrek sit right here, and let's get ready to read. This book is called Miss Brooks Loves Books, and I don't. I just thought this would be the perfect book, because how many times have I told you how much I love books? You know Miss Brooks loves some books. Here we go. Miss Brooks loves books, and I don't. Is the little girl going to change her mind about books? Let's read and find out. All right, there we go. Here's our title page. Miss Brooks loves books, and I don't. The author's name is Barbara Botner. She wrote the story. The illustrator is named Michael Emberley. He drew all of these cool pictures. Here we go. Miss Brooks is our librarian. She loves books a lot. Look at her office. It's full of books. She loves the Runaway Bunny and Babar and Where the Wild Things Are and The Very Hungry Caterpillar. I asked Miss Brooks why she dresses up for reading circle. I want you to get as excited about books as I am, she says. I think Miss Brooks gets a little too excited, and I bet her costumes itch. Now, I love books, but I don't always dress up in costumes. But that's cute. I do like that. Halloween means we each have to find a poem to share. But all the books with witches and ghosts and goblins are checked out. And I hate pumpkins. So I make up a Halloween poem of my own. Eek! A freak! The class looks at me funny. Miss Brooks says, well, it's a start. She just doesn't like any of the books. All year long, Miss Brooks reads us books. Books about dragons and pilgrims and presidents. Books about love and leprechauns. Groundhogs even. It's vexing. Ugh. Look at there. Miss Brooks is dressing up in this book. How about that? Then in May, Miss Brooks tells us about something truly terrifying. Book Week. What's Book Week? You each need to pick a favorite story to share with the class. I want you to wear a costume and tell us all about it. Really show us why you love it, she says. All right, and we can tell Miss Brooks is very excited about Book Week, and all the boys and girls are trying to find their books. And here's our little friend over here. Remember, she doesn't like to read. I'll never love a book the way you do, I tell Miss Brooks. Don't be so sure, she says. When I get home, I ask my mother if we can move to a new town. My mother says there's a librarian in every town. I ask if she wants to do my assignment for me. I've already been in the first grade, says my mother. All right. Book Week has started. We see some of the boys and girls have already picked out their books and they've got their costumes ready to go. Oh, this little girl is a little fairy. How about that? And then this little girl here, she's a cowgirl. And then we've got this little boy who dressed up like a puppy. Every single day of Book Week, kids share stories about trains and fairies and cowboys and dogs. When Miss Brooks asks what I think, I say, too flowery. She doesn't like all those flowers. Too furry. She really doesn't care about dogs. Too clickety. She doesn't like the sound of the train. Too yippity. She really doesn't want to be a cowgirl and ride on a horse. So Miss Brooks fills my bag with more books for me to read with my mom. But I don't like any of them. They're too kissy, too pink, and too silly, I tell my mother. You're as stubborn as a wart, she says. warts. Huh. I want to read a story with warts, I shout. Warts. My mother finds a book called Shrek. Who has warts? Shrek. Shrek has hairs on his nose and he snorts. Oh, I love that. Can you read it again, I ask. She has finally found a book she likes. A book about Shrek. I love this book. I have to practice the words over and over, but my mother helps. Then we make an ogre costume. I make stick-on warts for the whole class. Look at there, she's so excited. She's all dressed up. She is ready for book week. When I get to school the next day, I ask Miss Brooks to lend me a hand, to help me out. When I say the word snort, the whole class snorts. Can all of you snort? I explain why a stubborn, smelly, snorty ogre searching for a revolting bride makes me laugh. And look, Miss Brooks is cheering her on. Yes, yes. Miss Brooks says she's glad I found a book that I love. Look there, she's giving her the thumbs up. She says that even ogres like me can find something funny and fantastic and appalling in the library. And that is the slimy truth. The end. All right. So our little friend, she finally found a book that she liked to read. She didn't want to read about fairies. She didn't want to read about cowboys and cowgirls. She didn't want to read about trains and dogs. She wanted to read about Shrek, about ogres. Okay? When you guys get to come to school, we're going to get to visit the library eventually, and you'll get to pick out your very own books too. And I hope you find a book that you really love. Okay? All right, until tomorrow, I will see you later. Have fun, do your best job, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.